Welcome to the Writer's Dream. This is a show where we showcase authors, but sometimes we don't showcase authors. We showcase people who help authors. And today's going to be a special show because we're going to have a guest who's going to help us with the most daunting part of getting a book out there, and that's marketing. You can see this show on YouTube. You just look for my name, Linda Maria Frank, and you will see many, many interviews with local authors. We have a lot of local talent here on Long Island. You can also see us right here on LTV. Just click on the videos. And we are on Cablevision Channel 20 on Fridays at 3 o'clock. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest, Keith Newhouse, and he is the owner and manager of Newhouse Creative Group. So, Keith, tell us about this most challenging part of writing a book, and that's marketing.
Well, you are absolutely right about that. Authors think they could just have their works published and it'll just like you and I spoke about a little bit earlier, it just magically becomes a bestseller, and that's not the case, unfortunately. So authors have to realize that they need to put work into the marketing side of things. And stick around for the end of this program because I will be telling you NCG's #1 tip for marketing for authors, as well as offering a free half-hour coaching session with myself to help you market your books. Um,
That's fantastic.
thank
That
you,
is
Joe.
fantastic because having kind of done most of this myself and learning it as you go, that's one thing I have to say about writing a book and getting it out to people is that it is a huge marketing experience. I'm sorry, learning experience because you have to learn so many things about it. So, what inspired you to create this group, create the creative group?
Well, my dad and I started Newhouse Creative Group about 6 years ago now. I was working my day job. I design online graduate courses for colleges across the country. And he'd been telling me for years and years to start this publishing company with him because he's a children's book author as well as a former teacher. And he was running a publishing company as a hobby, but he was never really into the business aspect of things, whereas I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit to myself. So I was sitting at work one day and I thought about how much good I could do for the world with a publishing company. And Dad and I started this group together. It's family owned still to this day. We now have 20 plus authors with over 70 books. Um, and we've kind of moved into doing more services now as well. We started with uh, working with authors who were looking to self-publish their books and giving them an affordable, professional way to self-publish their books called Impress Self-Publishing Services. And now we're moving more into marketing services like we were talking about. Yeah.
Okay, so you actually will publish.
We do. We publish books. We have a traditional publishing branch as well as a self-publishing branch. And last year, I actually bought a new company. It's a 100-year-old company almost called Hastings House Publishers. So we now have the Hastings House imprint underneath our Newhouse Creative Group umbrella, which has over 600. They have the rights to over 625 books. Really exciting, actually, because the owner of it gave me, you remember the old card catalogs that libraries used to have?
Of course.
Of course.
That's how I did every one of my term papers in the 42nd Street Library.
She gave me card catalogs dating back to 1936.
Oh my God.
Absolutely amazing. So I have those sitting in my garage right now. It's fun to just go out there and sort through them all. She had one of the biggest authors that they had was Jack LaLanne back in the 90s. He was a big fitness
Yeah,
guru.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he was one of their authors, and it's really exciting because I now have that legacy company. And especially as we get to 2036 and reach their 100th anniversary, I'm excited to revitalize it and bring it back to its full glory, hopefully. We have our first book coming out with the Hastings House imprint, hopefully in April. It's an art book. An author has created. I have it here actually. Of course, you know every author publisher has messy desks, but we have this book called Gull Lake Memories.
Oh, why
Um,
did you do that?
and this is from, oh, that's because I have the background on. So Gull Lake Memories, you can see there. And we're creating a sequel to that under the Hastings House imprint called Little Wakaiva Memories, based on the Wekiva Springs outside of Orlando, Florida.
Okay, so for our listeners' sake, tell me the difference between you have a self-publishing branch and then you have what is really, I guess, called small press, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
So
so
our traditional small press are authors who submit their books to us. We have a team of scouts who look through their books and we say, yeah, we want to take this book on as our own. We're going to work with you to edit it. We're going to make it the best it can possibly be, and we're going to market it ourselves with your help, of course, because like I said, a publisher is not. Uh, I had a conference a few years ago. I'm in the Florida Authors and Publishers Association, and we had a presenter named Judith Briles who said, "You are your own chief marketing officer," and that's always stood out to me as a publisher and as an author. Um, so we're going to work as a traditional publisher. We do work to market your book, but we work with you to help you market your book as well. With
okay,
self-publishing, the author submits their book, they pay for our services, we help them with formatting, we help them with layout, we help them with cover design and all the things you need to put into the book. And then the author's on their own with what they want to do with it.
okay, yeah, because I've self-published the first four books I did through self-publishing companies. Then I went to KDP and did it myself, but I had to have a graphic designer
Right.
because you have to set up a printer file. And I didn't want any part of that. So, although I'm sure I could learn it, I didn't want to do it. And then I had to have an illustrator. I mean, you probably provide an illustrator and somebody who'll do the cover and whatnot. And those are services. See, this is all people who write that book. This is the learning process that you go through. And when I published my first book, I cannot believe how much I learned from it because I didn't even know where to put the quotation marks in the dialogue. So I took writing courses and it's a process. And that's
Absolutely.
something I'm glad you say that.
Well, and we have
Oh,
authors who come to us and say, "Hey, here's my Word document. Can you put it on KDP for me, on Kindle Direct Publishing for me?" And we go, "It doesn't quite work that way. You have to figure out all of their layout bits that you have to figure out." So we do have a great team of people behind me who take care of a lot of that for me. We have some great tools that are out there. There's a great formatting program called Atticus that I really like to use for a lot of our especially for memoirs. A lot of our authors are from the villages because that's where my dad lives. Um, and he runs the writing groups there, a couple of the writing groups there. So a lot of our authors are in their 70s, 80s, 90s and want to get their memoirs published. So they
sure.
don't care too much about the marketing, but they don't care too much about having all the little bits and bobs that go into it, but they just want to get a pretty professional formatted book out there. And we try to do that for the most affordable cost we possibly can
Hmm.
for those authors to get their legacies out there for their families and friends for the future.
So far you're going through actually giving them webinars on how to do the whole thing, and then you're giving them publishing, um, what shall I say, avenues to pursue. And but what I see in what you sent me is that you have some very interesting projects going. The
We do. We do.
the Monstrovia project.
Yes, we have one of my dad's book series, Monstrovia. It's in talks. We don't have anything official yet, but we're in talks with a couple of people for hopefully a TV show. We did have a podcast come out with that. Actually, the same podcast creators that R.L. Stein uses, the Goosebumps author.
Oh, R.L.
Um,
Stein. Yeah,
mhm.
yeah.
The same podcast creator created the Monstrovia podcast. You can find that on Go Kid Go is the website.
Okay.
Uh,
So um, so tell me about podcasts though. Do you since you started one, how successful are they in getting your book out there?
Well, we didn't actually start the podcast. We just licensed the book for the podcast. So
Okay.
honestly, I don't have much to do with podcasts. I do have, we're planning on creating a podcast course to help authors create their own podcasts if they want to. And we do have resources to help authors get on other people's podcasts, like what we're doing today. I mean, you've got this great video podcast idea, video show that you have. And we have resources to help authors find video podcasts, TV shows like this to promote their books.
Okay, that's great. But you also do a lot of work with where did I find that? Where you're giving back. What are you doing
Yeah.
to give back?
Well, like I said, I started the company as a way to give back because I've always had an interest in volunteer work. I was the chair for American Cancer Society's Relay for Life for a number of years. I'm very heavily involved in community theater. I just joined the board of directors for my community theater, the Horizon West Theater Company in Winter Garden, Florida. I was a chair for Construction Orlando for Second Harvest Food Bank, where all these different community groups got together and they built structures out of canned food, and then the canned food got donated to the food bank at the end of it.
Oh,
Really cool event.
that is cool. That is
Yeah,
really
so
cool.
when I started the publishing company, I wanted a bigger way to give back. So a lot of our books give back either financially, educationally, or both. Like my book that you see on, oh, gotta point that way. My book that you see on the screen, My Tio's Pulse, tells children what happened at the Pulse tragedy, how to cope with a tragedy like Pulse, and how to feel safe after a tragedy like Pulse. And all of the profit from this book gets donated back to charity. We had a team of 22 artists donate their illustrations for the book. We had a psychotherapist donate his services on how to tell kids in a safe way of what happened and how to make them feel safe after tragedy. We had a marketing team that donated their services. So all this became a huge community project, and all the profit from that book does get donated back to charity still.
I noticed that a lot with authors that so many of them are connected with the charity that, they'll funnel their books into, which I think is a great thing. Something that I don't think people really realize. Um, so let's see. What else do you do when you're, in your spare moments? You know what I wanted to ask you?
Yeah.
There's a big uh, book expo in Florida. Is it Orlando?
Oh, there's a bunch of them. There's the Sunshine State Book Expo. There's one in Gainesville that happens, but like University of Florida. The Villages has their own expo every year, which always gets a really good turnout. There's all sorts of expos all over the place, and they are a great way to get yourself out there and get to meet not only sell your books, but meet other authors and publishers and people who are trying to do the same things as you are. It's a great networking opportunity.
Yeah, I did Book Expo in New York, and you don't sell your books. You could actually buy a booth for $1,500, I believe it is, and then you can sell your books. But if you are there with a publishing company, you give your books away.
Mm.
And I mean, people come. It was the most amazing thing to me. It's the Javits Center, and you walk into the main lobby, and there are just rows and rows and rows of steamer trunks all over the place. I'm saying, what are these steamer trunks doing here? And what they are is the librarians come from all over the country and they keep collecting books and they put them in the steamer trunks and then I don't know if they put them in a truck or ship them home or whatever. But I thought that was utterly amazing. So I'm thinking to myself, I wonder whose steamer trunk I ended up in. But but they are, again, it's another educational kind of experience. This is what I found is that almost everything I've done is educational. The show. I always learn something from somebody. So, okay.
I love that. I'm a former teacher as well. So, of course, anything that goes back to education, I'm all about. And that's why I've started my marketing services now um, to try to help authors with, like you said, the most daunting task of writing is having to market your book. I've created a free set. Well, I've created a couple of different things. I have coaching programs that will help authors step by step through their marketing process. And I've created a free coaching session that I love giving out to authors called Most Authors Hate Marketing, but You Won't. And what I've done in that is I've created a kind of Myers-Briggs personality test where I'll take authors through a series of questions about themselves to find out usually about four different kinds of marketing that I think they would enjoy. Because my theory is that if authors don't enjoy what they're doing, they're not going to do it. So if you give them 135 different types of marketing, as I see out there all the time, these are the 135 things you need to do to make your book successful. it's just so overwhelming, and
That's
there's
right.
so much stuff on there. Authors hate authors. I found that most authors hate social media, including myself. I
Hmm.
hate social media. I hired somebody to do my social media for my publishing company. We got to a point where I got comfortable recording videos for her, and she would help me get more comfortable with things. But it's such a pain in the butt task for me of doing social media myself. So I think that if I can find you one, two, three, even four different things that you would enjoy, and you keep doing those things, even if they're not the number one way to sell books, um, doing something is better than doing nothing.
Well, that's true. Um, Let me ask you a question before we get on to social media. Do you get press coverage for any of the events that you're attached to? Are
We
you
have
able
done
to?
some press coverage in the past. I also help authors do their own press coverage. I've got a PR template that I give to my authors, and I give to any authors who sign up for my programs to help them with their PR process. We also have, I subscribe to a website. Oh, I can't think of what it's called right now, but that talks about different press opportunities that there are out there.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of that on the internet, but here on Long Island, it's very difficult to get the press to cover even like mass events. You know, you have to sort of know one of the reporters or one of the stringers or one of the writers for the local papers. You have to know them personally or build a relationship with them. It's almost worth it to do that if,
Yeah.
in fact, you're out there doing a lot of events. I mean, I do a lot of fairs. That's where I sell my books, fairs, and we do school visits. But the school visits, I don't really know if the schools would really be happy having the press come in. I haven't even asked that question yet. Now,
Does
social media.
Newsday,
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
does Newsday still have Kids Day involved with it out of curiosity?
You mean on Newsday on
Yeah,
Channel 12?
Newsday newspaper used to have a section called
Yes,
Kids Day. My dad was very involved with that, so that was something that he used to
that
get
was
involved.
Doug Geed. Doug Geed. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, to tell you the truth. I mean, we have tried in my organizations. We have tried to get through to them, but it's just too much on Long Island. I mean, I within a square mile radius of me here in Massapequa Park, there are five authors that I know of.
Mm,
Okay, so I once did jury duty, and the judge said to us, you know, Long Island juries are really good juries because the level of education on Long Island is very high. So you have people who are very thoughtful, but they're also involved in so many things that the press can cover. There's so much competition here that
yeah.
if I wrote my book in Idaho, I'd probably be a star. But you know, I'll tell you about social media. I hate it too. Because I don't know, because it always is, these tentacles are coming out to you. Do this, do this, do this. Oh, I finally found a way to like social media. I use the camera on my computer and I read a chapter from my book and I put it on Facebook. And then I wait a week or two and I put the next chapter on. Then I put some little thing in between. And then I have a few websites that I have all of my stories and whatnot on, and then I'll put a link to a story. So if you have a body of work, then it becomes easy. It takes you like 10 minutes. And then the thing you have to do with Facebook is you have to join 45,000 groups. And there are 45,000 groups. And then you just share and share and share.
Well, and you saying about doing your one recording, waiting a few weeks, do another recording. That's exactly what I mean is, I mean, if you talk to a social media expert, they're going to tell you you need to post 3 to 5 times a week, if not more, and blah, 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 and keep going over. But if you're doing something, it's better than nothing. I love that you're doing that for your
But
books. I
three
think
to
that's a
five
great
times a
idea.
week, as far as I'm concerned, you're glutting your Facebook page and people aren't even looking at it anymore because it's overload. Whereas I find if I do it once a week or maybe once every 5 days, or if I alternate, if I do read a chapter, put a story, put an event, because people have no attention span. And if
Right.
they see the same graphic, forget it. They're just
Yeah.
going to go
Yeah,
right
no, you
over it.
have to absolutely diversify what you're doing for sure. And video is the best way to get across on social media for sure.
Yes. Yeah. And then you can put it on Instagram and all the rest of it.
I recommend LinkedIn as well. I don't know if you're using it all, but I
I
really like
do.
it because everybody's on there for the same purpose to be professional. It's also really a great social media uh, tool for introverts. Facebook, you have to post what you're eating, what you're doing, all this stuff, and throw everything about yourself out there. Whereas with LinkedIn, it's very much of,
It's
well, I'm gonna give
professional,
you a little piece of what I want to share, and it's going to be professionally based, and it's going to be something that uh, is going to matter. It's not just something to throw something out there.
right? So, is there anything else you want to say about your services before we get into this offer that you're going to make?
Well, we also offer education services. Like I said, in my day job, I design online graduate courses for colleges across the country. So another great way to get your book out there, or even just to add supplements to your books, are creating online courses. I love doing that for authors. I have an accounting book that I helped him create an accounting course to go with his book, and it's going really well. That's one of my first projects in that venue, but I love doing that kind of thing. Let's see, what else?
Well, that's a great way. If you're doing a college course and you get a publisher to publish your textbook, that's an in to getting your fiction book published
Hmm.
because you have to really, as far as I can see, you have to have a rabbi. You have to know somebody in the business to really avoid sending out 5,000 query letters. So,
Well, and honestly, that's why I'm on board directors for Florida Authors and Publishers Association. Highly recommend getting involved with groups like that. As a group, we actually have a book awards contest that anybody can enter. You don't have to be from Florida to enter it. It's a great contest to join. We had somebody from Korea enter it last year and win an award, which was fantastic. She flew over from Korea especially for the award ceremony.
what is the contest? What do you have to do?
You go to the Florida Authors and Publishers Association website. It's myfapa.org. And there's all sorts of information on there about it, including different genres you can enter for. But you just enter your book. I can't
Oh,
remember
yeah,
the
enter your book. Oh, okay.
yes, you enter your book into it,
Yeah.
and then we have a panel of judges who review them. They have a rubric that they go with to judge each book, and we give out prizes. And it's a
All right.
great thing to have on your Amazon page saying award winner of the Florida Authors and Publishers Association Book Awards. Or there's also the Florida Writers Association has the Royal Palm Literary Awards is another great one. I'm not sure if they allow out of state, but it's worth checking out. But even if you just Google book award contests,
Yes,
you'll find tons of awards.
I know. And I think it's very important that when you put a new book out or your original book is that you try to get somebody to recognize it with an award. And there's all levels of awards. I mean, you pay either a very big fee. It's like Kirkus Review. You pay an enormous amount of money for a Kirkus Review, or you can go to Reader's Favorites or
Hmm.
something like that, and it's less money, but it's a really nice review that they do. So we
Reader's Favorites does
usually,
a really good job too. I agree completely. Um, we've had some of our books go through there too, and got some great reviews, as well as another great thing to put on your Amazon page.
that's right. Yes, Amazon is supposedly you're going to get sales if you put a lot of reviews on Amazon. That's what Amazon tells you. You have 2.5 minutes. Okay.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to tell you our number one tip for selling your book, though. You ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
This is our number one tip from Newhouse Creative Group on how to sell your book. You're not selling your book, you're selling yourself. And what that means is most authors will say, hey, my book is about this. Hey, you should read my book because, hey, you should do this. It's not about getting the reader to buy your book. It's about how can I help you as a person? How can I educate you? How can I inspire you? How can I entertain you? Your book and you personally are your brand, and you have to make sure that people understand why how you're going to help them through your books and through your brand. So that's our number one tip. All right, so the free session, like I said, it's called Most Authors Hate Marketing, but You Won't. It's a free half hour with me. Go to ncgauthorservices.com and you can sign up and put your time on my calendar to meet with me for that half hour session. I'm going to take you through information about marketing. I'm going to take you through why authors hate marketing, which I'm sure most of you already know, but we'll go through that quickly. And then I'll take you through that personality test where I'm going to tell you up to 4 different ways of marketing that I think you personally will enjoy. Because, like I said, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. So rather than say to you, here's 135 different ways to help you, I'm going to give you 1 to 4 that I think you're personally going to enjoy.
Give us the website one more time.
ncgauthorservices.com. So Newhouse Creative Group is ncgauthorservices.com.
All right, very good. Personal is the best. I don't like talking
Absolutely.
to avatars and printed material, but personal is the best. This
All
is
me, even my
great.
coaching programs. If you sign up for coaching with me, it's all with me right now.
Okay, this was a great interview, great insight into one of the biggest bugaboos in getting your book out there. And you're right, you sell your book yourself. That's why I sell my books personally. I mean, that's where my sales are personally. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Say hi to Lois, even though she lives here on Long Island. Say hi to Lois.
Will do. Yeah, thank you, Lois, for connecting
And
us.
okay, all right, take care. Bye
Have a
bye.
good one.
Bye.